This is a dish that I created when I had so much coriander and parsley left over. I'm going to make prawns in a spicy, vibrant green sauce. Now, I say spicy because I'm adding some jalapenos, but if you wanted to make this mild, you could absolutely use some green capsicum. So let's make our sauce first. You'll need a food processor for this because we want to blend everything together until it's lovely and smooth. It's kind of like a curry, a bit like a Mexican curry, fusion we'll call it, and it's absolutely delicious because I'm going to serve it with a dollop of sour cream right at the end. So in the food processor, I'm going to add some nuts. Now these are cashew nuts that I've soaked in some water for about an hour. You want to do this because you want to soften them so they're not going to be grainy in our sauce. So after they've been softened, drain them from the water and then into our food processor. I like to add the cashew nuts because they're going to give us a lovely thick sauce. So in with the nuts, along with some ginger and a good amount of ginger. I am just going to roughly chop it, and that's the beauty of using a food processor like this. You don't have to worry about too much chopping. It can be roughly done, and the food processor does all the work. Along with 2 cloves of garlic, I'll just bruise. In that goes. And our jalapenos. Now, depending on the jalapenos, sometimes they can be really hot, sometimes they can be quite mild and sweet. So it's always a good idea to just have a little taste and just see how hot they are. They're actually not too bad. They've got a little bit of heat to it, but it's not overpowering. So I'm going to add 2 whole jalapenos, and I've also taken the seeds out. That's where most of the heat sits. All right, in they go. To that, 2 spring onions and just the white and light green part. Pop that in. And then these gorgeous herbs. Now, whenever I have ample amount of herbs and I don't want to go to waste, this is the type of dish I turn to because they just make the most divine sauce. So just chopping them, I've given them a really good wash, particularly the coriander, and I am using the stalks because that's where loads of the flavour is. So just really get that in there. I'll add a pinch of salt and a glug of vegetable oil. You could also use some extra virgin too. Okay, I'm going to place the lid on and blend this for a couple of minutes. If it looks slightly dry, just add a little bit more oil, and you can add some water too. And just to make sure everything chops evenly, just scrape down the side. I can see that I need to add a little bit of water, so we'll just add a splash of water and blend again until smooth. All right, look how smooth this sauce becomes after blending for a while. And it smells so good, so fresh with that coriander and parsley and also the ginger in there, good hit of ginger. Okay, let's put this quick dish together. So in a pan, I'm going to add some butter. I love butter and prawns together. So we're going to add a generous knob of butter to the pan. To that, a little oil so that butter doesn't burn. We'll swirl that around the pan. And what I've done with my prawns is remove the shells. I've left the tail intact because it looks so pretty for presentation and removed the intestinal tract. Now, I'm using prawns because I love the sweetness and I know they go so nicely with this green sauce. But you could absolutely substitute these prawns for white fish like flathead, kingfish, barramundi would work really nicely too. Okay, now that that's melted, we can start adding our prawns. And prawns cook in no time. And they're such a beautiful seafood. It would be a shame to overcook them. So by the time I add them in, making sure that they're not overlapping, I'll season them with a pinch of salt. And you can see because this pan is so hot, they cook really quickly. As soon as they start to curl up and change colour, oh, look at that. Turn them over. And we want to add the sauce at the very last minute so we keep that vibrant green colour. So it's a lovely little bit of caramelisation there. And now for our vibrant green sauce that can go in. And all we want to do is cook this briefly just to cook off the garlic and the ginger. So we just give that a bit of a jiggle. and the lid can go on. And I'll give that 2 minutes, 3 minutes at most. All right, let's have a look at these prawns. Ooh, see how we've still got that lovely green colour. Smells good, and that sauce is thick, which is what we want. Okay, some finishing touches. In a bowl, I'll add some sour cream. I want to be able to drizzle this over the prawns, so I need to loosen the sour cream up, and I'm going to add some lime too. So a good squeeze of lime. And I need to season it too, so a pinch of salt. Another stir, you can see how I can now drizzle that sour cream. Perfect. I'm also going to serve this with some rice. So a generous spoonful of rice into a bowl, just in the centre. And then our beautiful prawns, we'll just pile them up. I'd say 4 or 5 prawns, depending on how hungry you are. Right on top there. And a little sauce over the top. And a drizzle of sour cream. Final touch of herbs, a little parsley. We did add the parsley to our sauce, so just a little flourish of that on the top to make it look extra special. Sprinkle over the top. And an extra wedge of lime, why not? That is a stunning green sauce paired with the prawns, and just that final creamy touch with the sour cream really makes it something quite special.